Well, first of all, my name is Nick Gorey. I've been involved with Brand Innovators for probably 4 or 5 years, mainly in the US because my company's based mainly there, but I've been trying to help them come to the UK, so very happy to see everyone here. John, just give us 2 seconds kind of introduction of you. First of all, start with the fantastic second name. I know a bit about second names that carry with you, so talk to us about that.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm John Sadeghipoor. It's Persian, in case you're wondering. I've been in the industry about 17 years, so 10 years brand side, 7 years agency. I'm director for marketing for Free People, which is the fastest growing fashion brand within URBN, which is Anthropologie, Urban Outfitters, and a few other brands in the US. Newly, which is the fastest growing fashion rental business. And I've been with the brand just under 2 years.
Perfect. So just give us some context for Urban Outfitters in terms of size, scale, all those kind of things.
We're about a $4 billion business. According to Google, we were the 3rd most searched for brand over Q4, so pretty big.
All down to you, right?
Absolutely not. We've got many years of heritage and experience. And in fact, this year is 40 years since Urban Outfitters was founded in Philadelphia. Family owned and run, still is. And Free People was the original store.
And so I was lucky enough to spend an hour with John yesterday, and I have to say it was an absolute revelation to me. I felt like very much old media after an hour talking to you. It was really interesting. And my aim in this piece is just to try and get some of that in terms of content and innovation. This is the right person to talk to, so I want to get some of that across. So just as some context, and I have to say this rather than John. John's responsible for about $100 million worth of sales in the European market, and is running a budget of circa $10 million. So I can say that he possibly can't. But just talk to us a little bit about your very different way of thinking about being noticed by consumers, because for me it was an absolute revelation.
Yeah, so Free People, FP is for the creative spirit. So when it comes to innovation and content, creativity is our key. It's our competitive advantage. So if we flash back a year ago, we partnered with Amazon, with the broadcast studios for Daisy Jones and the Six, and we did the costumes where Daisy, Riley Keough, Elvis's granddaughter, was wearing Free People, and we launched with them, with PR, editorial, influencers, created a collection, and it was massive. That's just one example, and we're looking like this year, like how do we comp that? Huge Google searches, landing pages which were optimized obviously for SEO. Great PR and coverage, and obviously great ads as a result of that. And then, we're constantly working with, creators, influencers, and press to amplify that, but also constantly think about new creative and content. So this year, in January, we launched early. We went social first. We had an amazing collection of new products which were completely unique. We'd never gone live in January, and it was social first. So comping Amazon and the millions of people that are viewing that was very, very difficult.
How do you come up with the ideas in the first place? Because that seems to be the absolute key. You approach the world in a completely different way from any of the brands that I work with.
We have an incredible, talented team. Extremely creative. I'm very blessed to be working with a lot of creatives. We also have great partnerships, of course, as well. So like the Amazon partnership was great, but continuing to create like new relationships, networking at events like this, and also constantly creating iconic products which create such love and desire. Talking to a few people this morning, they love the brand, they love the products, and they know that they can't get it elsewhere. So we're constantly replicated or duped, as they call it. Creating trends is extremely important.
That seems to be the thing that you guys manage to do, but it seems to be a culture of the entire business, because not only do you do it with your actual products, but you do it with your marketing campaigns. Just share a little bit about the marketing campaigns that you were telling me about with artists and so on and so forth. I thought it was fascinating.
Well, we obviously have creative and product, which is then loved by influencers and also celebrities like Taylor Swift. Whenever she wears something or goes on tour, huge spike in searches, traffic, and sales. But we also work really closely with them on creating things. So, I can't talk too much about it, but we've got some great creator collections coming. And obviously from that you get the edit, you get the outfits, you get the name, the sponsorship, and that is extremely valuable. It's worth more than its weight in gold, and we can promote that, and they get promotion as well from it. So it's a win-win.
So someone like Taylor Swift, that is a formal relationship, is it? Or is it just that she chooses to wear it? Or how does it work?
We have organic relationships. So we also obviously have, commercial relationships. Nick, you come from performance marketing background. So of course, we have great partners like Rakuten, LTK, who like to know it. And of course, they get commercially rewarded for it. I noticed recently on LinkedIn, actually, that one of our athletes, I won't say her name, but she was promoting the collection, and it had affiliate links. So there is always a performance element to it. So Taylor Swift, no, we don't have a commercial relationship, but in a sense, she loves our brand, she wears the products, and we see great benefits from it.
Okay, so actually, part of the secret is fantastic marketing team, as we said, who come up with really outrageous ideas, and they are outrageous. I want you to talk a little bit about the thing that happened in Westfield, which you can talk about, I think, right?
Yes, I can.
So part of it is that, but part of it is literally the pieces of clothing and fashion items are so attractive that these massive stars are like, no, I'm wearing that, whether I'm paid or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's iconic products that I think are loved by humans in a sense, and that human quantification is the stimulus to the algorithms across social, which then gives virality, which then sells out, and then you move on to the next product or collection. But yeah, I'll come back to your question on Westfield. So, extremely relevant because we're only a few meters away from where it was. But we're based in Brick Lane. We obviously work a lot with creatives, and the East End and Shoreditch is a hive of creativity. We've done Brick Lane murals and outside Shoreditch House, and King's Cross pop-ups and things like this. But we wanted to tap into the West London affluent audience. We've got a store on Westbourne Grove, which does extremely well. And we found a space there which we wanted to do, but it just wasn't right. And obviously we have, we're in Westfield as a group with our brands. So the opportunity came to do a bit of a brand activation. So not far from the entrance to the White City train station, we basically had our catalogue from the US, which we then converted into a newspaper with some fantastic creative on the front of it, which we were handing out. Great social content, captured. Influencers came down, drew a huge crowd. We were handing these newspapers out whilst a local street artist was painting a photorealistic mural, which was probably about 20 foot high in the sky. So it was fantastic. These are the things which we're constantly thinking, how far can we push things? How creative can we go? And, what is the commercial outcome from it? And I can tell you, record searches, record traffic, record social interactions, obviously real human interaction as well, which then of course, turned into the highest sales day, weekend of the year.
There are sort of two bits that I'm still reeling from. I'm reeling from I'm just thinking about all the brands I work with across the world, and the idea that Taylor Swift would just choose to work with anyone without any commercial agreement, and how they would just die for that, and they're nowhere near it. They're finance brands mainly. But the other bit that I'm thinking about is, when you did that bit about that street art kind of being done at the same time, that in a way is it's a very sympathetic nod towards the influencers, right? Because it gives them a load of content that they're then able to post. It's interesting content, and they're looking for interesting content to post, right?
Yeah, they wanted to come down and capture their content with the backdrop.
Yes.
In a huge traffic, high footfall environment, so we drew crowds, and we couldn't be there too long because, at that point it was getting a bit too hectic.
Yeah. So I guess that leads me on, or bounces me into this kind of idea about how good you are in dealing with your community. And I know so many brands who really struggle to kind of nurture their community. Talk to us about that and how you think about it.
Well, the community is key, absolutely. And I've talked to so many customers now over the time, and I was in Nice last week talking to our South France customer, high net worth, huge AOVs, love the store. It's surprising actually the amount of people who've downloaded the app and they use that app and they benefit from the app pushes and the communications that come from that. But yeah, the community is key, and in fact we put on customer events, I would say almost weekly. And that is, actually not a huge amount of cost. It's certainly resource, it's staff, it's time. It's also thinking, what can we do? What's actually interesting? Who are the creators that we want to collaborate with and partner up? Is it going to be ticketed? Will it be free? Would customers want to even pay for something like this? And the answer always undoubtedly is yes, and we sell out within a day. So the community is absolutely key. And I think, with the evolution of cookie deprecation and Google Analytics, GA4, actually that community and that customer, that qualitative data is more important than ever before.
You feel like you're actually in the entertainment business. That's what it feels like to me. Give us an idea of how big your team is.
We're a team of 10 in London.
Right.
But obviously, we're much, much bigger in Philadelphia, which is where the head office is.
But I was really bringing it up because I'm kind of like, you think about the kind of creative output from this group, and there's basically 10 of them doing it. And I think about brands I work with who might have 200 in their marketing group and aren't coming out with nearly as much stuff around this. The difference would feel to me like there's quite, my traditional brands are quite fearful about actually getting out there and talking to their community and doing some kind of show in Westfield. How do you guys think about the sort of risk factors in doing these very public things?
We're risk takers, definitely. We take the risk and we do these things. Obviously, there's a high investment to doing something at Westfield. But as I say, come back to the FP with all the creative spirit. We feel like that's our not silver bullet, but that's our point of difference.
Yes.
We're doing things which are unique, creative, which we talk about like the challenges on the high street. And yes, I suppose we are in the entertainment business. We're creating an escape from the day-to-day, the mundane, and we're also creating desire. And these wonderful products and collections are things that people love. I think I heard from someone earlier when I first arrived, I love Free People. And it's that love, which is, it's in the brain. And the MD or the CEO of RTL, both of them agreed that it's about that memory. How do you reactivate that memory? And by doing unique things, of course, you're going to remember it. It's rememberable.
Yeah, totally. Any questions so far that have come up in your minds? I don't want to continue going without acknowledging the audience may have some thoughts about this.
That's a really good question. I think we had a great chat yesterday. You were talking about some celebrity. I think yes. In answer to your question, yes, absolutely. And you look at like Iggy Pop and Swift cover.
It's absolutely right.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
That was perhaps
It was
early,
total performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, you know, perhaps that was before its day. If that was now on TikTok, everyone would be talking about it. It'd be trending, you know.
It would,
So I think, the short answer is yes, absolutely, because you're engaging with the audience. You know, not necessarily your typical audience. It's unique, it's creative, it's funny, it's entertaining, and people would love it. Yeah.
A very interesting kind of idea. The similarity between the two companies is the willingness to take risks, isn't it? You know, the Swift cover guys were willing to take a risk. They were the only people in the insurance industry in the UK who would take that risk, and they were rewarded by selling the company for £400 million after 3 years, right? But and you guys, similar thing. I guess the difference is you guys are 40 years in and still taking really big risks. I mean, they don't feel like risks because you've calibrated them so well. But that's an interest. Will you talk a little bit about why you think that is possible in your firm?
I think that yes, they are. Like, from the outside eye, they look like risk taking. You know, we're doing these things, we're investing. But they do really feel like our brand sensibilities, and they are.
It's right in the culture.
It's company culture, but it's also it's resonating not only with our customers but also our C-suite and our staff. You know, they when an idea hits, it just feels right. Yes. And again, I come back to like the human element of marketing and brand, and that is the stimulus which drives the performance. That's what's driving. Once we've done it, people see it, they're searching, they're engaging on social, they're following, they're sharing, and ultimately, we're selling.
Talking yesterday, I was very interested in this idea of super creativity on one side, risk-taking kind of, being right out there on the cutting edge, and at the same time being very interested in the performance side of things. So talk to us a little bit about that and the large performance group that you have in Philadelphia and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, so obviously, the performance element is extremely important. We're constantly looking to eke out as much efficiency from our CPCs, our CPMs. We have specialists and experts for every single channel within performance marketing, and that's where I started as well 17 years ago with affiliate, Google ads. Learning how to send emails from the ESP, understanding open rates and click-through rates and the KPIs. And we have a fantastic analytics team as well. It really helps that they are very brand heavy as well. So the measurement of it doesn't stop at last click ROAS or indeed MTA, our multi-touch attribution platform, but multimedia measurement analytics and also qualitative. So we have a CI, customer insights team in Philadelphia who are quite large, who will constantly not just do post-purchase surveys, but have panels and engage with the customer and understand, what is it that they're loving or loathing or leaving us for.
I thought. Sorry. Yes. Sorry. Come.
Yeah, I don't think they're underrated at all. I think every C leader within the industry is aware that retail and e-com go hand in hand, and the creativity and the marketing is what drives footfall into store. It drives all of the numbers at the end of the day, and if you don't do it, you won't be here in 40 years' time. So that's why we keep doing it.
I'm aware we're at the end of our 30 minutes. So just quickly, any other questions before we sort of wrap up? I've got one other question then to go, which is just give us your idea of the next sort of 5 years. What if you've been absolutely cutting edge for the last 10 years, over the next 5 years, what should we be all thinking about?
I think, with data and all of this information which is being collated, coupled with much faster 6G, for example, when that rolls out, 100 times the speed of 5G, that's when things like VR and augmented reality perhaps would come into the mainstream. Obviously, Meta's been pushing it for 10 years at least, and you can see. I actually ask the youngest team members of our team what they think, and I am always surprised. So when it comes to social, obviously, I'd be surprised if many of us are on Snapchat, that much. But there are AR and VR things that are they're being used by brands at the moment for entertainment, for fun. But when you can create, amazing experiences like, 3D stores or shoppable experiences, or even if you look now at the very niche, you see like rock concerts or pop concerts within like Minecraft or the metaverse. That is very, very niche and very in its infancy, but it's if you think about like 20 years time or 10 years time,
it's a nod to the future, isn't it?
That's what's being used by kids now. So they'll be far more accustomed to that stuff in the future. And I mean, I worked at G-Star in the Netherlands for a year, and they were looking into like crypto and potentially accepting Bitcoin on the site and things like that. That's I think far more like left field. But I think with the introduction of super fast internet access, imagine what ITV or RTL could be doing within a 3D world with brands. I think that's where you've got to go.
I think that's a fantastic place to stop. Thank you very much, John. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, That was great. Man. That was brilliant.